We are here at the San Diego Auto Show. This is taking place January 1st, 2020, all the way to the 5th. So if you're here in Southern California, check it out. It's a pretty cool event. So this is the beginning of the exhibition here, and we're in the Toyota section. They've got this dual cat-bat exhaust and stuff, and it's kind of a weird look for Toyota because this is Camrys and stuff. I think they're trying to make Camrys seem fast and fun, and I think that just is going the wrong direction. They'd be way faster if they were electric, and I gotta tell you, Toyota is one of these companies that really confuses me. I see the Leaf over there, I see some other, the e-Golf from VW, but Toyota has nothing electric out here. So this is the e-Golf. So this is the e-Golf, and I gotta say, this is pretty interesting. There's some people over there by the placard, so I'll check out the range numbers, but this is an awesome car. I know a lot of the people who had these when they were on lease only and things a few years ago really like these cars, and it's probably for a good reason because this is a super cool car. And as much as people like the GTRs and things, by the way, Remy, can you say hi? This is my son, Remington. Remy, can you say hi? Hi. Are you excited about all the cars? Yeah? You like that one? Okay, let's try to get in there. So the Nissan Leaf lady is talking about the Leaf and Pro Pilot Assist. Let's go.
Very cool feature, but I'd love for you to check it out for yourself on our ride and drive I mentioned earlier. That is going on today.
So one of the cars that doesn't get enough credit in the EV revolution is the Nissan Leaf. And we just heard from the spokesperson at Nissan about Pro Pilot Assist, some of their self-driving technologies. And I gotta tell you, Nissan has really put money and effort and R&D into making this a pretty decent EV. They're not perfect. I don't really like how they look. I'm more of a Tesla person, but you got to give them credit as one of the first major mass market EVs. And it wasn't just like they made one and they forgot about it. Here's the Generation 2. So good work, Nissan. I hope this is a look into your future, and I hope that you keep making cars like the Leaf. Part of what I was trying to figure out is how many of these manufacturers are putting their electric vehicles on the main floor. This is the main floor, and so far Nissan had the Leaf. They even had a spokeslady come out and talk about the Leaf, which was pretty cool. VW has the e-Golf out here. Let's see what Ford has out. So one of the companies that I kind of feel weird about is Kia, because Kia was a really small manufacturer 20 years ago, but they've made some phenomenal cars lately, like the Kia Stinger here in red. And this is a fantastic color. But the weird thing is, if they had made this car 15 years ago, I think it would have been a big hit, and I think Kia as a nameplate would have been on the map. But here now in 2020, it feels like the gasoline engine car era is coming to an end, just as they were getting good at this, and that's kind of a shame. This was historically one of my favorite companies, Honda. I've owned more Hondas than all other cars combined over the years. This is the Civic Type-R, pretty awesome car. But I gotta say, Honda might be the most behind, maybe Honda or Toyota, one of the two, in terms of EVs and electrification, because they don't really have a single model that's pure electric other than the Clarity. Looking at this floor, there is so little to be excited about, and that's the sad part. So this is a Clarity fuel cell. We've made some videos covering the pros and cons of battery electric versus hydrogen fuel cell, but this is Honda's offering. This is one of the better fuel cell cars you can buy, along with the Toyota Mirai. You're looking for a future where you're still beholden to a company for your fuel, your energy, then I guess hydrogen might be for you. But if you're excited about a future where you can have solar panels, make your own electricity, charge your own batteries, and be free of all of it, then battery electric is really the way to go.
Just stopping by to display. Well, good luck in that car.
This is a company that I just feel like is frozen in time. They've done certain cars for a while, and historically they've been one of the most reliable and best companies, but there's just not much innovating going on. It seems to be a company that's pretty stagnant and happy to rest on their laurels. So this is the Jaguar section, which is interesting because it looks like they've got all their models out here as I'm looking around. And interesting is that the I-Pace, the one electric car that they make, is kind of cordoned off and not really fully open to the public. I'm not sure why they do that, but it's either because it's really special or because they don't want people to see it. I don't know. But let's go with special, because this is a pretty cool EV. And if you're one of these premium car buyers who's looking at something in that higher price bracket, this is a great car. Two companies that I've always loved the styling and the look of is Range Rover and Jaguar. And these are two companies that historically I would never buy a car from because they have pretty poor reliability in terms of their gasoline engines and their transmissions and everything else. So my advice, free advice for Jaguar and Range Rover is to just jump on the electric bandwagon and start making these Range Rovers electric. Because you tell me I can have a car that looks like this, because that is an attractive car. The Range Rover Sport has always been my favorite SUV, but the one I would buy would be the Toyota Land Cruiser because it's 10 times more reliable. But these cars, if they were electric, I think would be super interesting. This is the Range Rover Defender, and this is a pretty cool car. Look at this thing. It looks like a military vehicle. I'm sure the gas mileage is abysmal, but it does look pretty cool. So if you watched our video that we did a collaboration with Matt Farrell from Untitled, you remember that Matt mentioned a funny story about an Infiniti dealership that an owner came in, a loyal customer for many years, and said, I want an electric car. And Infiniti has nothing electric in their entire lineup. And so what the dealership did is they bought the owner a Tesla Model 3. So this is the Infiniti section, and I don't think, I can ask somebody, but I don't think they have a single electric or even a hybrid in their entire lineup. All they have is gas cars, and again, it's one of these companies, which is interesting because Nissan, clearly the parent company of Infiniti, has shown that they care with the Leaf. They've made a second generation of the Leaf. I'm not sure why they haven't made an Infiniti electric car. Because again, Infiniti is not really a very popular nameplate. They don't sell as well as, let's say, BMW or Mercedes or Lexus. And so I think this is another company, as a parent company and more of a luxury nameplate, that should consider going electric. Honda has Acura as their luxury nameplate, and again, they don't have anything electric. All they have is they have a very mild hybrid MDX, which is maybe this one. Yeah, so this is the hybrid MDX, and really all it accomplishes is a couple of miles per gallon more in the city and the highway, from like 22 or 21, 25 to 26, 27. So a very, very mild hybrid, and again, hard to get excited about this because it's just such a small value add. But here's something that's pretty cool, and this has been kind of the centerpiece of Acura's kind of design language. This is probably the precision concept. Yeah, this is called the Type S concept. And that is a very good looking car. And I'm sure it won't be because Honda's terrible about this, but make this an electric car and people would buy it in droves. Make this a Model 3 or even a Model S competitor because it seems like it's a pretty big car and it is absolutely gorgeous. Make this an electric and I think they would have a hit on their hands. If this is the Acura TLX, which I think will get a lot of the inspiration from that concept car that we just showed. But again, I think the MDX and the RDX, their SUVs, sell almost all of the Acura sales in North America. So there wouldn't be much to lose. Take this car that doesn't really sell that well and it doesn't really compete that well with the BMWs and the Audis and make it electric. So now we're in the Lexus section, and keeping in the tradition of the most disappointing companies in terms of embracing electric, Toyota and Lexus have been so far behind the times in that regard. And looking at their lineup, they've got some pretty cool cars. So their styling has always been a bit controversial. Whether you like the spindle grille or not, that's kind of up to you. But there's one thing that's not controversial, and that is their choice to just make gasoline cars. Everything that they have here is a gasoline car. And this is the company that brought us the Prius. Their parent company is Toyota. And if there's one company that I would expect to sell more expensive, kind of, not mass market, but more expensive electric vehicles to start and get away with it and do a good job and be popular, it would be Lexus, and they have not done it. So this is a company that I admit I don't really follow too closely, and I do think that they've made some strides in making better cars, and that would be Lincoln. So here is the MKZ and some of their smaller cars. But again, I don't think they've got much in the way of electric vehicles at all. Lincoln is the luxury nameplate for Ford. And yeah, it looks like they're all just gas cars out here. So one of the early EVs that I ever drove in was the Fiat 500e, which is this tiny little compliance car that Fiat made. I'm heading over to see if they have anything like that. This was a compliance car. I know they don't really have much. But these nameplates like Fiat and Alfa Romeo, they sell in such small volumes here in the US that I think these are the kinds of companies that have the least to lose if they were to try to make something electric. But these all look like gasoline models out here. So speaking of EVs and companies that really should get some credit for what they've done, Chevrolet comes to the top of that list. They have the Bolt, and even before that, the Volt. And I think they've stopped making the Volt, but here's the Bolt out here on display. So Chevrolet would be the third company to have an EV on the main floor. And the Bolt, I think, has always been a very inoffensive car. I don't think people love it or get passionate about it, but it's probably a pretty solid choice if you're looking to buy an EV. And if you're not really sure, you might want to go to your Chevrolet dealer, ask them what is a good lease on a Chevy Bolt, and start there. Do a 3-year lease, drive with it. It has over 200 miles of range, and that's a great way to get started and see how you feel about going electric. So a little confession, I do think one of the cooler gasoline cars that I've heard announced in the last year is the Chevy Corvette, the C8 Corvette, which is a mid-engine rear-wheel drive sports car. So I'm here at the show. This is the energy station put on by SDG&E, where people have all the EV options from all the different manufacturers all in one place. And I was looking around, and I'm volunteering here, so I'm answering questions that people might have. And I'm looking around and I noticed one car company is interestingly absent, and that is Tesla. So I asked around, and the reason why is this entire event, the San Diego International Auto Show, is put on by the Car Dealerships Association. So Honda dealers, Toyota dealers, Ford, Chevy, all these companies get together to put on this show. So Tesla is not allowed to have their cars here because they don't have dealership networks. They sell directly to consumers. So one last interesting observation is that this entire part of the convention hall is run by SDG&E, our utility company. And they're really eager to push all these different electric vehicles that they have out here, because obviously for them it's good for business, because as people move to electric vehicles, they're gonna have to charge them, and the energy companies are going to be growing potentially as the petroleum companies will start to shrink up.